So now, Peter, Scania, tell us a little bit about that company, and then we're going to talk about how the two of you got together.
Yeah, I mean, Scania is a trucking company, and we are a global player. We are more or less all over the world. And the most interesting part with Scania is actually the whole product is built out on a modular system. So a customer could pick and choose of how many axles, so you can build on and what engine, so you can more or less build your own cab like a
buffet.
Yeah. And now we're adding in autonomy in that equation. So Scania has been around for a very long time, and we're now have 12,000 trucks in the mining industry. Foundational trucking manufacturer, but also a service provider, securing that we deliver what the customer wants. But the most interesting part is actually the modular system, which I think is amazing, even if I've just been working there for 3 years. Giving the understanding to the customer that you can put together whatever truck you want, and we will produce it in our serial production. So that's, for me, it's just amazing.
Yeah, so I find that very interesting. It's a very adaptive product to whatever your specific needs are.
Yeah, so you work with standardizations, but in a modular way. So it's not just one truck.
Yeah.
It is, you can pick and choose, but it's modulars that are standardized, which is then keeping on to being a good sellable product to the end customer.
So we've got two dynamic companies. So what happens when they come together? Let's talk about this joint collaboration.
Yeah, I think, if you don't mind, I think it starts from, I think it started with the introduction of autonomy into mining, where it was, I think, quite naturally introduced by the big equipment manufacturers, right, to bring in that autonomous solution. But in our opinion, right, if you really want to drive innovation, you need competition to really drive it. So one way to introduce that and to make sure that was maintained within the mining industry was to develop a standard and publish that standard for open autonomy. So 6 years ago, Wenco introduced this idea, and one of our engineers is the convener on the board for the ISO standard.
Okay, yep.
And started to drive that 6 years ago. And and it just got published this August of 2024.
So for the benefit of our audience, the ISO standard you're talking about is on equipment autonomy?
Yeah, so it's
autonomous operation.
What it's there for is to make sure that there is a standard way for autonomous systems and fleet management systems to interact,
to communicate.
And what that means is when the standard's adopted, any fleet management system can work with any autonomous system, and vice versa, and vice versa.
Type concept.
Yeah, and I think that's very important, right? This isn't Wenco's standard; it's not Scania's standard; it's the industry's. It's out there and published, and we actually publish a lot of our work on developer sites like GitHub to show what this standard is, right? And so it's the benefit of the industry, right, to keep driving that innovation. And then the autonomous provider Scania, right, is one of the
I think that's what your question was to dynamic companies, and I think that's the part that actually works so good together, is that we don't see that we need to work solely together. We do it together to just show that it actually is possible to do with an open standard. And that's so our vehicle will work with any FMS system, but what we showcase here is that we can do it with fully open standards, so anyone can integrate, because that's what the industry need. We need to secure that we can be fully integrated into different systems and solutions. You won't solve the future demands on your own, and I think the dynamics we have between Wenco and Scania is really good and showcase that we're taking a step into this standardization, but doing it on a more or less project scope, saying that let's deliver it together for the benefit of the end customer. And now we can showcase that that's for real.
Yeah, and what Peter says there, right? Delivering it together. So that's requires a special relationship as well, right? Understanding those development paths, understanding the support paths, sharing that with each other, right? And sharing those milestones and making sure we achieve it together, right? And yeah, it's a unique situation, but it's been working very, very well.